Welcome back, folks. This is the Political Goat. I'm your host, Uncle Felix, and we're gonna talk about a few things today. Namely, what happened since the last time we were together, and I signed off. We signed off air on election night at 12 midnight, and things obviously have have changed. So we're gonna go over that, and then also I'm gonna bring on Cory Garabedian, who's gonna talk about this week's NFL picks versus the spread. Then I will, of course, unveil this week's NFL Power Five. So stay tuned. And when I come back, I'm going to bring on the one and only Chris, the tax guy, who's going to help me figure out just what happened. So should be fun. Stay tuned. And we're back. And just as I promised, here comes Chris, the tax guy. Chris, how's it going?
Uncle Felix, happy birthday! Is that in order?
Yes, it is actually the
Yeah,
big, the
nice.
big, the big 4-4.
Oh wow, very nice. And then honestly, and to everyone else, welcome to the 172nd hour of our election day coverage.
Yeah. Hey, what I mean, what the hell happened? We signed off around midnight, and I remember saying if this map stays the same, we're looking at a Trump W, and then obviously everything went wick wacky, and we got the media now claiming that Joe Biden is the winner. Which is not technically correct. I mean, Trump faces obviously an uphill battle, um, but I think that was irresponsible. I would say to name him that. I mean, they should just say what's going on. That the states that are not yet ready to be called, the thing is being contested. Nobody's conceded, so I really don't understand why they would come out and and some are calling Biden president elect. Um, but
Well,
what are your thoughts anyway?
well, as far as do I think Biden has this in the in lock, and I think it's a pretty done deal at this point. Yeah, I hate to say it. I think the Trump days are over. And I think I'm interested to see where these court cases go, and if there's anything that's really unearthed as far as evidence to suggest that there was any type of vote tampering. But as far as why the media would call it early, they were calling this thing about, I don't know, 6, 7 months ago. So the notion that they called it now after
You know
the
that's true. They
they've been calling it for Joe
and
Biden for
even
almost a year.
I know even me on my show a few months ago, I actually said this was going to happen. It's going to be heading to the courts, and the reason I was saying that is because Biden had he had hired like 600 lawyers over the summer, preparing himself for this, and they he's fanned them out across the country, and one of the places they went to was Pennsylvania, and they were looking to change the Pennsylvania voting laws there, and what they did, and they were successful in doing so. I mean, it wasn't constitutional, and that's one of the things. The Trump lawyers are gonna go to battle with, but they changed the voting process there, and where they now were allowing signatures that didn't have to be verified, addresses didn't have to be verified, um, and what was the other? Oh, the post dated didn't have to be verified. I know the Trump administration fought against that. They went to court, and that's where John Roberts actually dropped the ball. He allowed it, and he shouldn't have allowed it because the second, and I don't want to say John Roberts by himself, but he was the deciding vote, is what I should say. Um, the Constitution is clear in Article 2 that it's the state legislators that do the that can make up or change the voting process, and that's why we had Judge Leto put out the order to Pennsylvania twice now. He did it before election day, where he asked them to separate the votes that were not post dated, and they did not. And then he issued it again the Friday after the election to do the same. Um, so it's going to be very interesting to see where that falls. I mean, and so it's not just Pennsylvania that's a mess. I mean, there's allegations obviously in Michigan, Nevada, even Georgia, and Arizona. Obviously, was called way too early. I did see that CNN actually took Arizona down from the Biden section earlier yesterday, either yesterday or early today. I don't remember, because Arizona is very close. They still have, I think, 70,000 ballots to count, and Trump is down 10 or 15, but he's been winning these drop-off ballots at an 89% clip. And so if he continues that, he'll actually take Arizona.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, like I said, Arizona, I knew was going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been as close as it is, regardless of who the winner is. I think what you're seeing in Arizona, and this is just from talking to people in the community, what you're seeing a lot of is that unfortunately, Trump made a grave error in dealing with Arizona, and that was he shit on John McCain. St. John is like an anointed deity. I mean, you just don't do that.
This is the unpolished part of President Trump. Because do I think he should have shit on John McCain? Personally, yes, because John McCain shit all over him. But politically, you're right. You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's where he hurts himself with his how would I say, like his green or his newbie, being new to politics, basically.
It's not new to politics. Listen, Trump has always been a little bit of a uncouth bully.
Yeah, you're right. The better word would be to say him not willing to play politics, I guess.
Right.
He
doesn't look. He doesn't have the. If I'm going to say this today, it's going to bite me in the ass tomorrow mentality.
Yeah.
He's a typical business guy related. Like he's just going to say what he needs to say, and it doesn't really matter how many feathers get ruffled. He's just that way.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I think that really does hurt him in Arizona. I think that let's even take a step back. We're talking about these mail-in ballots. When you think about the mail-in ballots, you're thinking about people that are a couple things you can address with that. I'm talking about the new add-on ballots, like COVID-related mail-in ballots. Mm-hmm. A lot of those people that are sitting at home, whether they were Republican or Democrat, if they're staying at home and they're mailing it in because of fear of COVID, two things automatically go through. A, that they might end up being in a protected age group, which means Social Security is a high agenda item, and or their medical benefits are a high agenda item. And second is the COVID itself, or the COVID condition. And as a sitting president, whether or not you thought he handled it well, we're still dealing with it. He gets the blame. He gets the blame regardless of whether or not he did the best job he could have done, or he could have handled it better. It's still in the shit show, and he's going to get the blame as a sitting president. It's kind of like anything else that goes wrong under that presidency. They're going to bear the blunt of that blame. So I think people sitting at home, COVID's another big issue. Healthcare is an issue. So they're going to end up attacking the president on that. So you're going to see people that are going to vote more Biden. I don't think what we're seeing in the States, I don't think the numbers we're seeing coming in, from a statistical standpoint, make a huge, nothing is red flagging to me. And in fact, when you look at the total popular vote, he's actually won more of a percentage of the popular vote this term than he did in the 2000.
First time around, he got 63 million, I believe, and he jumped all the way up to 71 million.
No, I'm talking about a percentage of votes cast. So he was at 46.1, I think.
Well, it's got to be close because I know the difference between the two is still about 4 million. So it's.
But he picked up like 1.5% almost over 2016.
No, he did well. He outperformed himself. See, I'm going to disagree with you on the, because I do see some irregularities, and that being in that if you look at, let's say, if you go like down the ballot, um, obviously, Trump as of now is losing, but the Republicans have flipped 9 seats in the House
Mhm.
for a net gain of 6, and there's still 12 more seats. There's still I think 12 or 15 more seats up for grabs, and the way I was looking at the map, they can realistically have a shot of gaining at least another 6 seats. So that doesn't drive, because usually the top of the ticket carries the bottom of the ticket, and so that doesn't drive there. And then we're looking at places like Wisconsin, who had 90% show up to vote. I mean that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Um,
so I will give you that. So there are some areas where I will take a step back and say it looks a little weird.
yes.
And that's where I think and that's where I think having the litigation, having the court option is important. I think you need to have some evidence. I think it's kind of like everything else. On
Yeah,
other issues
and
in the past, I've always said let's wait to see what the court comes out with, and I'm kind of doing that here too, is
well,
saying
exactly, and
let's see what the courts come back with and say if this is really bogus or if it, I do think 90% voter turnout in Wisconsin is insane. And
yeah,
then I don't think that I don't know. It might have broken a record.
and
Uh,
I do think that everybody should take that approach, is wait and see, because obviously I don't know what's going to come of it. I have a good feeling, just because the way the summer was going, and the way Democrats are going into court and looking to change certain rules, like there's nothing positive that can come out of, in my opinion, saying we're gonna eliminate or reduce the amount of signature verification. They got rid of it in Pennsylvania, and in Nevada. I was just reading how I guess it's a machine that scans them, and so they lowered the requirement to where I think it's like 80% on the signature verification to 40%. So almost letting anything go by. Um, Again, why do that? Why take away safeguards? Especially when you're increasing the amount of voting by mail. You would think you would you would raise the safeguards, but to lower them, it doesn't make any sense. To
Other
me,
than
that
the
to me
argument
that
of
doesn't pass the smell test.
they want to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to vote in the process. Now, again, we could have a whole all day on whether or not everyone really should have the right to vote, but that's a whole different ballgame. But in this particular case, the way our system is set up, everyone of lawful age can. So, the reality is that here's my concerns, and here's some of my concerns with things like Wisconsin and Michigan and some of the states that are close. Some of the areas like Pennsylvania, you have a lot of people, and especially in Wisconsin and Michigan. And I can tell you, even now, being here in Arizona, this is a great snowbird location. So that means people live half their time in Arizona, the other half their time in Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, and some of the states. Now, it's not going to matter if you're already in a swing state, but if you're an Illinois voter and you're living here in Arizona and all of a sudden you want to change your voter registration to Arizona, even though you may not technically meet the requirements,
Mhm.
then you start to say, all right, wait a minute, does that account for the new voter turnout? Anyone who lives in California that has a summer home here on the lake,
Mhm.
uh, anyone who lives in a northern climate that comes down. So when you start seeing these close elections in places that people could have summer homes, you start to wonder, let's say lower thresholds. And I mean, then you start to wonder, okay, maybe that is. But then I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to go on QAnon now and start, talking about flat Earth. But the conspiracy theories could literally be never ending. What I'd like to see is, and I think part of a greater conversation is beyond even what we're dealing with right now. Where the hell is it that in a country as sophisticated with the technological advancements we have, Palm Pass, smartphone, that we're still antiquated in our ability to maintain personal records to figure out voter integrity?
Well,
Like,
yeah, and again, it's
back
it's
there still.
it's it's government bureaucracy, and that's why we always see the private sector out accomplish the public sector. I mean, everything they touch is horrible. I mean, how is it that they're still counting ballots in Arizona? That's insane. I mean,
Well,
the
it's because
election was literally a week ago,
It's
and
because
they're still
they
counting.
brought over the sloths that were counting in Nevada, and now they're counting here in Arizona for us. They're the only ones that want to work for that wage.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hoping is that after all this, something good can come of it, and that definitely has to be some type of voter reform. I understand each state obviously is responsible for their own set of rules, but there has to be something has to be done to for where the citizenry can have confidence in a proper election. I mean, because with all and they're all allegations just now. It's going to take a few days, obviously, for us to hear all the evidence, and we'll see if they're BS or not. You know what I mean? But but we have to, in my opinion, make it more secure. To me, I love voter ID. I don't buy that it suppresses votes. That's a total BS thing,
Yeah,
and I don't like, and I'm not a fan either of the mail-in ballots. I'm fine with absentee ballots. If you can't make it and you request one, that's fine. But I don't like this. Let's mail a ballot out to every registered voter out there. That just invites voter fraud to me. Because basically, if you can't take the time to request one, then you know what I mean. When you know you're not going to be there, then too bad. Either show up and vote, or request one.
and again, I mean, absentee ballots for years have been used, and
Yeah, they're fine.
yeah, to no problem at all. I mean, especially it works great for our men and women in the armed forces to be able
Yep.
to vote when they're. I mean, this is an important part of our process. So having that available, as well as people that are maybe housebound that can't get out, you want to make sure that they have their voices heard too. I think the use of COVID fear to push from these relaxed regulations in
Hmm.
mail-in balloting, that's I do have a concern with that. I also have a concern because I think, while I agree that the states have to legislate their own, voting process, I think keeping a central database of pertinent key metrics on an individual isn't far-fetched to be able to do on a central level for a federal level.
Hmm.
From the get-go, you're issued a social security number. That's kept with the federal government in one department. You got a passport with a passport ID number from another department. So you have a federal ID potentially. You have federal IDs for men and women and veterans associations. You have your veterans ID number. You have your indoor service employee ID number. You have all of these key metrics that you basically keep with you your entire life. And some of the things that change are like death, birth, moving, address changes. So having a centralized database to keep some of those key metrics, what it would do is prevent. So if I'm moving from Rhode Island to Arizona, or right before I go to vote, if I am a snowbird, or I was traveling between the states and I'm registered to vote in two different states, they've got to be able to have a way to kind of mirror that to see, is there a dual voting record here? Is this the same individual voting twice?
Hmm.
Use the unique identifiers that the social security number provides and actually be able to see, is this person registered to vote in more than one district, county, state? And I think this way you're assuring one voice, one vote, one person, one vote, but you're doing it in a way where the states can now use this, external resource that the federal government could easily provide. It's going to increase voter integrity. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that, and they can safeguard the shit out of it. I mean, granted, you can
They
say
could, and that's what baffles me is why isn't that being done? And the only answer I come to is because some people would like the room to finagle some numbers. You know what I mean? Because again, like you said, and also clean up the tolls. How many dead people? I every time I go vote, when they open up the book there, I see my dad's name on there, who's been passed away for 21 years. He still gets mail here. You know what I mean? Asking about voting stuff and things like that. It's like, why is he still on there?
well,
You
I
know what I
told
mean?
you, I showed you where I'm still listed as active voter in Rhode Island.
Yeah, and I
I
actually
moved away. I registered here.
and I actually got a message on my Facebook account the other day. Somebody was telling me that their 17-year-old son received a ballot. You know what I mean? And he doesn't turn 18 till next year.
Yeah.
So again, like this is it's insanity. I mean, this is supposed to be what separates us from from all the other countries is our voting system and things like that. And then that brings me to the other thing with the whole um, president elect title that they've already put on him. I don't think I think that's irresponsible, just because we have a process to go through, and as you know, it's not the media who ordains the the next guy, the president of the United States, especially when Trump hasn't conceded. It's one thing if we had all this and then Trump said, hey, congratulations, I concede. Okay, now that would make Biden the president elect because there's nothing being contested, but that's not the case. We have a process. I believe it's not until December 14th anyway that the electoral colleges actually place their votes. So I don't understand. What I do understand actually. In my opinion, they're doing this to almost force their hand or pressure, I should say, the courts, because they're going to say, well, this guy's already been named president-elect. He's starting to conduct himself as the president. I mean, he's weighing in on things already.
He already has a short list for his cabinet appointments.
Yeah, he's already doing
the old
that.
Coronavirus task force.
And I heard he was actually looking to get updated on the foreign affairs with the intelligence agencies, but they actually turned him down because technically, he doesn't deserve it yet. But yet, they're still carrying themselves that way, and I do believe that's by design to pressure the courts. It's going to be tougher for them to say, hey, let's take this away from him. You know what I mean? Since he's already acting that way. But as we all know, back in 2000. It was up in the air. Al Gore thought he was the president for like 30 days, 37 days, before that switched. But here's the map and how it looks as of right now. I'm not sure why they haven't called Alaska yet. Arizona, as we said, is close. Georgia is very close. North Carolina is not close, and I'm not sure why they haven't called. I should say, I wasn't sure to why they haven't called it, but now they're saying, I guess there's a lot of ballots that haven't been opened yet, and they believe those would be favor the Democrats. So let's not be surprised if they find 200,000 Biden votes there, as they did in Pennsylvania. He was up 700,000 votes, and all they had left was mail-in ballots. I think 1.1 million left, and somehow now he's down 50 grand. Again, I'm not buying it, but they'll look into it, and I do have confidence in the process of them looking into it anyway. We'll see what happens if it gets to the Supreme Court at all. It's gonna make for a very interesting few days, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I also think that they need to definitely, I mean, the states should definitely have similar rules with regards to what constitutes a valid ballot in your state. Mm-hmm. I think if they want to monkey around with the local elections, that's fine. But when you're talking about a federal position and you're looking at the votes going to, granted, I guess you're technically voting to dictate to the electors, which is also state related. I mean, that's how pretty much the republic works. But in that sense, though, you still know that what you're casting your vote for is you're putting your representation for president. That should probably have a streamlined, fixed guideline as to what constitutes, a legitimate ballot in your state. I mean, and I think you need to have something to prove yourself beyond. No, you can take my word for it. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like you were saying earlier, with the technology we have now, that it's all these things aren't implemented and these safeguards put in. And again, I think it's because for one reason it leaves room for shenanigans. You know what I mean? And I do believe we've seen shenanigans here, and it's going to be interesting to see, how that plays out. But Chris, let me pause for a commercial break, and when I come back, we got another guest coming on, and we're going to talk some football. One moment while I pay the bills here. Here we go. And we're back. And I'm going to bring on Cory Garabedian, who started out last week with us. He's doing a new segment with me every week. He's going to be picking points against the spread. Last week he went 1-2. He won his New Orleans bet. He lost the Indianapolis bet, and I believe I forget what the other game was. I don't have it here in front of me.
So how much funny money does he have left?
He has 8.6K left. He started off with 10 grand. He's down to 8.6. He's got his 3 picks in for this week here, so we're gonna see how he did. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a Seattle versus the Bills game, which I don't believe anybody saw coming. The Bills put a beating on Seattle, and so that was a shocker. So I'll cut him some slack on that one. But let me bring him on real quick. Cory
What's
bets.
up?
I like it. Let's go.
What's up, fellas? How we doing today?
Very good, very good. Before we get into your segment, I'm gonna go through my NFL Power Five here,
Let's get it.
and I know you guys are anticipating who's number one. Who could it be? Boom! There they are, folks. The
The
Pittsburgh
Jets.
Steelers sitting on top of the world at 8-0. I mean, they escaped by the hair of their chinny chin chin
Yeah, they did.
Sunday there against Dallas, and with a 24-19 win. I mean, that thing looked scary for a little bit. Big Ben threw 3 touchdown passes, no picks. And the one thing I come away with that game is Mason Rudolph stinks. They need to get rid of that guy. He's not the answer for when Ben finally decides to hang it up. Send him packing. I'd rather see Hobbs coming in as a backup, or even let's bring back the Duck. But Mason Rudolph, he sucks. I'm sorry, and I'm not buying it. He needs to go. Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. McComey again threw another 4 touchdown passes, threw for 372 yards. And they had no running game, no problem, because he went berserk, and they beat the Panthers 33-31. Number 3, I got the Bills, who did. You know what? I got the wrong picture up there for my power ranking. Here it is. It should be this one. Number 3, I got the Bills, who are at 7-2. And again, they put the beating on Seattle. I know Cory Betts didn't see that coming. 44-34. Josh Allen, 3 touchdowns, no picks, threw for 415 yards. I mean, he had an insane game, but we all know Seattle is hurting in the defense department, that's for sure. And they were definitely exposed. Number 4, I got the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers just keeps chugging along. He threw another 4 touchdowns, no picks. Devontae Adams, 173 yards receiving. I mean, they look tough. And number 5, I'm going to put the Saints. And they blew out Tampa Bay. I thought that was going to be a good game, Breeze versus Brady, and Breeze showed up. He threw 4 touchdowns. Brady showed up too, but he threw 3 picks. so that did not look good for Tampa. My 2 honorable mentions, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans, and that rounds off my NFL top 5. So that being said, let's get to Cory Betts.
Felix.
You got 8.6K in the bank here.
Yo.
So you're sitting at 1-2. So let's see what you
It's
got.
time to bounce back.
Yes, sir.
Quick thing though, Felix. I got a couple things for you real quick. One, Mason Rudolph, man. I mean, he's a Trump supporter. I thought you would have his back. He is a bum, though.
I didn't know that. I may have to renege on my
go
comments.
over his Twitter, man. Yeah, he's all up for Trump, so.
All right, so I take it back. Rudolph is a good guy. No, he stinks. He is
Yeah, he's all done, man.
Not a good quarterback, but good judge of character.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say another thing, too, with Josh Allen. I went against him in fantasy football. Yeah, he tore me up, man. You're right. Nobody saw that one coming.
No, not like that. I mean, he, good for the Bills. I like to see them win because they've been so down for so long. I mean, that franchise, I mean, after losing 4 straight Super Bowls, those were the glory days.
Yeah.
Those were their glory days. Now they've been awful, but, I do. Well, actually, I take it back. I was going to say they shouldn't run away with the East, but, the Dolphins look surprising.
Dolphins looking good, man. I told you.
At first, I was questioning their move of, benching Fitzmagic. I'm like, the guy's playing pretty good. Why would they bench him? But Tua is playing insane.
To a project in effect.
Yep. But let's go to your picks for this week.
Let's go.
Here are the games.
All right.
So let's hear it.
All right. Well, first off, I'm going to say, Chris, I like your shirt. You go Patriots all day. So get that on the table. First off, we got Tampa Bay. I know last week they kind of got the beating, like you said. Tom Brady, he showed up, but he showed up with 3 in toes. Antonio Brown, I mean, he made that one good catch. They were down 30, but they still got a long way to go, I think, you know, getting the pieces together, the players coming together and getting in sync. But I think, you know, they only put up 3 points last week, so I'm going with the spread with Tampa Bay. I know it opened up, I think, at 5. It's going down now a lot by 4.5, 4. I want to go all the way down to 3, 2, wherever it goes to. I want the last points because Tampa Bay is going to blow this team out the water. Carolina's coming off. They fought hard against Kansas City. To be honest, I thought they were going to win that game, Felix. To be honest, Christian McCaffrey back.
That was actually Teddy Bridgewater. Game,
yeah. So I think they kind of regress a little bit. I think they kind of reached their glory last week with McCaffrey back. So I think Tampa Bay's coming, you know, guns blazing. I think they want to show the world something, you know, because like you said, they were in your Power 5 2-3 weeks in a row now. So they're going to have to show it. So I'm going to put $3K on Tampa Bay this week. They're going to be my biggest bet of the week. Try and get this money back. You know what I mean? I got Uncle Felix taking juice on me too on the low, so I got to kind of take my shot. So
got to take the juice.
You see that, Chris? The birthday boy, man, he's getting a little taking the juice.
So what do you got in that Cleveland Texans game?
This is a wild one for me. I know Texans. I love Deshaun Watson. You know, he's just a stud.
They're much better than their record shows.
Right. So, but Cleveland, I know they were in your admirable mention about 2 weeks ago, I think, before they played the Raiders. They dropped one to the Raiders. I think they only put up 6 points. So I'm definitely betting on the bounce back. It should be a close one all again. I think the spread's at 3, open up at like a 2.5. So I'm going to take Cleveland -3 at home. I think Baker and the boys get it done without Odell. They still have weapons. They have Kareem Hunt. So I'm definitely going to be watching this one. This is going to be a good one. But Cleveland Browns, I think, is in a bounce-back situation. Like I said, only dropping 6 points last week. So I'm going to drop 2K on 1K on these guys.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the Vikings versus the Bears.
This should be a good one. This is a division game, as we know, up in the NFC North, I believe. So any division game's a tough game. I know Vikings opened up at, I think, actually, the Bears were opened up as the favorites, I think, with 2.5, but now it's a big swing to the Minnesota side. I think it's -3. So there's some type of confusion, something I don't trust with this line. At home, the Bears are coming off a 2-losing game streak. The Vikings are coming off a 2-winning game streak. I don't buy Kirk Cousins. I don't buy all the hype what's going on in Minnesota right now. I'm going to I think, what's this game on a Monday night, Sunday night? This is a prime game.
I think so.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the underdog in this spot. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears. I'm taking the points plus the money line to win the game, but the points is a safe bet. When a NFL team, they're on a losing streak, they're supposed to be good. You always expect some type of bounce back. So that's going to be my bet for 2K.
From the beginning with the Bears, I mean, they started off actually pretty good, and from the beginning, I'll say I'm just not buying what they're selling. I was been waiting for them to come back to earth, and it seems like they did. But so you got Tampa Bay, the
3K.
Browns, and the Bears. How much for the Bears game? Sorry,
Bears will do 2K. Yeah, we gotta get our money back, Chris. So somehow, man.
I'll tell you what, I'm not putting any money on the Patriots.
No.
Oh man.
I'm not doing that.
I thought for sure they were going to lose that. When they were down 20-10, I'm like, this game's over. Then somebody must have tapped the Jets on the shoulder, reminded them that they were the Jets, and then they just fell apart.
Well, so here's my takeaway on the Patriots. So what? 2 games. You had Cam that was literally down to the last minute drive. They could have won it. They did that against Seattle. They did that again. I forget what
against Buffalo when Cam
he fumbled.
At the end. They were set to either take the lead or tie the game. I think
take the lead,
tie or win. But so you're talking about games that are coming right down to the wire. Games that you arguably would have thought they had no shot at. So I mean, I don't want to say that they're going to be scrubbed out yet, but at this point, I think that the best thing the Patriots can do is win a actually have a winning season. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make a big splash. If they get a winning season, I think it'll end admirably.
Well, the Patriots, in my opinion, are similar to the Texans. They're better than their record shows. So what are they now? 3-5 or 3-6?
3-5.
3-5. Well, one thing I want to say about the Patriots is too that offense last night was just Cam Newton and Bird, I believe, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
It was just them two. Yeah, going forward. I mean, every game is based on the spread. I mean, there were 10-point favorites. Patriots never beat nobody by no 10 points. I feel like since Brady days.
No.
But like I said, the week before that, they were underdogs by 4.5. They came, they almost won the game. They covered. So I feel like teams play depending on the spread. That's just me. If you're coming into a game as an underdog and you're like a top team, you're going to play with a little edge. I feel like if you're such a big, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were 14-point dogs, that's favorites. Almost lost.
Yeah.
But they won by 6 points. So, it was at Dallas too. So every team plays, I guess, on the spread. They got all week to know, like, hey, listen, Vegas said we'll lose by 14 points. Yeah, right. So I think it's a mental thing with a lot of these teams. I could be wrong, but just looking at these games, Patriots moving forward.
I can definitely see overconfidence playing a factor, and that's where the coaches come into play. You got to keep these players grounded. You know what I mean? Sometimes you read your own press clippings, you start to believe them. You know what I mean? And that's never good. But the Jets, I mean, 0-8.
Joe Flacco.
Do they have a realistic chance at running the table in reverse?
Who's that? Who you talking about? Jets? No, they're all done.
No, I'm saying run the table in reverse and go 0-16.
Oh, I believe so. Yeah, I'll put money on that bet. The Jets, man, I mean, they got Joe Flacco. He's the next surgery away from ending his career. I mean, he did look. I mean, you go against the Patriots, you're gonna look like an all-star team, man. It's sad to say as a Patriots fan, Chris. You know what I mean? But like you said, Felix, it's about the coaching. Who they have? Adam Gase there. I've heard a lot of bad things about Gase as a coach, so I'm not buying it. Who else is a bad team in this league? The Jaguars. Do they play the Jaguars this year?
I don't know. I gotta look that up.
Even still, Jaguars I think have weapons. I would take the Jaguars. This is my underdog pick for the week. Is the Jaguars plus 14 against the Packers. It's just a big spread. I think when you're 0-8 team, every week you're trying to get a win. You're playing with all your heart. You know what I mean?
That's a tough one because the Packers. I mean, that offense, they look like juggernauts, man.
Exactly. But you come into the game with that kind of point spread. It kind of suppresses the team a little bit. So. Yeah. The refs get involved, a lot of money on the table with these games. So, you can watch a little bit here and there. But this week's a big bounce back, This week's a big bounce back for the NFL. What's that Brady and Breeze touchdown thing now? Is Breeze up a lot?
I know it's close. You figure he threw 4 to 0. You know what I mean? So
he was already up, right? Before that game?
Close. Close. Yeah, he should be up.
That's what I mean. Brady's going to come out. He's going to throw probably 10 touchdown passes Sunday. That's just Brady for you, Chris. You know how he operates.
He's on his back.
The good news for the Jets. The Jets are actually 0-9, not 0-8. They're 0-9. 0-9. So they're more than halfway to the promised land, I guess. And let's take a look at.
Are they going to come back after the bye?
Huh?
Are they thinking about showing up after the bye? Are they just going to be like, you know what?
This might be the first time that bye week gets a win. So,
they're just going to meet us at the draft. They'll be like, all right, we'll see you at draft day.
They're playing the Chargers.
Lost.
At the Chargers. And, their rookie quarterback there has been playing pretty good. So they're kind of excited there. So I don't see them winning that game. Nope. Miami's been playing well. Raiders are a good team.
Raiders got them.
Then they got Seattle. They're not going to win that game.
Nope.
Then they got the Rams.
Lost.
Then they got Cleveland.
Lost.
Cleveland might be playing for a playoff spot that late in the season. And also, then they finish the season with the Patriots. So it's very possible that we might see them run the table in reverse. And I got to say, that's impressive. You know what I mean? It's consistency.
Consistency. It is very consistent with the New York Jets.
Week after week, showing up not prepared for a game. You know what I mean? That's
I don't understand how a franchise had number 1 picks, top 5 picks for the past 10 years. And holy moly. Like, I don't know, man. What are you going to do?
And they pretty much admitted to skunking out on that Le'Veon Bell trade, signing.
They messed up big time with that.
Yeah, they did. They both parties did. Le'Veon should never go on there, and the Jets should never offer them what they did.
Well, I don't blame Le'Veon at all for taking that kind of pay. So,
No, no.
but you're right
But
though. I mean,
it wasn't that much off from what the Steelers were offering him. You know what I mean? It was a few
oh,
$1 million
see,
off.
he
He
should
could
have
have stayed.
stayed.
He could have stayed and then competing for playoffs and championships every year. And then you go to the Jets. Jets have nothing over there.
No,
You know, but
no.
it is what it is. But thanks, Cory.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man.
We'll be following you here, and if not, I'll be sending my guys to collect the juice.
Hey, drinks on me this weekend. All right, after this one, we're gonna be up this weekend, fellas.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Take
sir.
some shots for. Hey, happy birthday, Felix. God bless, man. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, man. Take care.
Take it easy.
And that was Cory's picks, and I think he's gonna do pretty well. I'm not buying the Bears though. That one I think will be tough. But that being said, Chris, any final thoughts on or any predictions, I should say, this week? What's going to go on in the political world?
Not really. I mean, you're gonna obviously see more results coming in. I think the only thing I guess I'm really hoping that someone just tells everyone to shut up about the let's come together in unity. I think look, 4 years ago, you guys basically attacked every single thing for 4 straight years. You just did nothing but cry like a bunch of wine babies. You literally done everything in your power to vilify and demonize every single thing. You run Trump through the mud, and now you're gonna be like, oh, you won and you got what you wanted, and you're like, oh, well, I think we need to come together as a country.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck
I
you.
mean,
that's my answer to that.
Exactly, and I think it's pretty safe to say, let's say Trump goes on, and everything goes his way, and he stays right where he is. Do you think for 1 second those guys are going to be calling for unity? They'll be calling for Trump's head, is what they're going to be calling.
Yeah,
for.
I think we should all, and that's exactly when everyone else should be like, no, let's hug it out. We're all good. We're all on people. Like,
all those stores that took down those plywood, from their windows because Biden won, they'll be putting them right back up.
No shit. And that's the thing. So, do I think the country needs to come together on things? Yeah, I think we need to get back to being able to discuss issues, and I think we need to be able to actually, read a book before we post shit on social media. I think we need to actually learn from both sides of an argument and actually discuss an issue rather than just.
Well, that's the thing. We're not even discussing issues anymore.
No, I know. It's just hate.
You know what I mean? It's all rhetoric. It's all about race, all about isms, all about feelings. You know what I mean? I'm sure you saw the guy there. I forget if he's on CNN or MSNBC, one of those liberal hack networks. Van Jones, he was crying like a woman on the on the show. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I missed it.
I mean, he was sobbing like a baby, and he was saying he could finally tell his kid that character matters now because Joe Biden won. Are you kidding me? And I don't know. I think this country is so thirsty for a real news network that just reports the news. You know what I mean?
Tell it how it is.
Tell it how it is. Like Fox doesn't live up to that, but I like their slogan. We report it, or you decide, or whatever it is, something like that. It sounds great, although they don't live up to that either. You know what I mean? But that's what we need. Is straight up reporting, and all these other editorial shows. That's fine. It's cool to hear people's opinions, but the actual shows that label themselves and call themselves journalists, it'd be beautiful just to sit there and listen to the news. You know what I mean? Without any, red partisan rhetoric being added to it.
But I think if you're going to have a news, an opinion column type segment, that's what this is. That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Entire, 45 plus minute opinion column. Have it on a different network. Have it on a dedicated, I don't know, call it politics channel, where all it is just a bunch of different people talking about their opinions on things. And not trying to disguise it like we're reporting news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Literally have it be a discussion, have it be an open forum, have it, whatever format they want to use. But stop trying to do it as a news programming, because that's the difference. Is when you're saying when you're giving someone your opinion, you're not actually showing them what the actual situation is. You know, they don't ever give you context for something.
Mm-hmm.
They just read a byline. And I'm really tired, on top of that, about the news when they look at something going viral that could have absolutely no base other than the fact that it went viral, so they can talk about it now because it went viral.
Yeah.
So they're not actually verifying the information. They're not giving you any information that they can say that here's the source and this is no, but they can say, oh, this particular article is going viral on social media, and as a result, it gets airplay on the regular media, but it is an absolute baseless piece of garbage. And it happens all the time. Like, stop with the nonsense spreading. And I don't know, do your job, report news, be factual. If you're going to give any type of analysis, make sure you show the evidence that you're supporting with it. I don't know, just bring some civility back to the world, I guess. To me, let intellect guide and not this nonsense of just hate spewing bullshit.
It would be great. I just don't know how we get there, though. You know what I mean? Because perfect example, like CNN, their ratings are constantly in the gutter. You know what I mean? So if they were doing it for ratings, you would think they would switch up a little bit, but they're not. It's like they're there to serve a purpose and to pitch an agenda. You know what I mean? It's not really there to be impartial. You know what I mean? And you could say that for all of them. I'm not just to pick on CNN. They're all awful.
Yeah,
Like,
Fox News is just
I don't know if you saw the press secretary McEnany, which she's awesome, by the way, but she was tearing a new ass to the Democrats on something, and the commentator from Fox, he cuts her off. He cut off the video, the live feed to her, and goes on a rant of how he doesn't know if anything she's saying could be proven to be true. That's not his job. His job is she's giving a press conference. Let the press conference play. You know what I mean? And then if you want to talk about it after, that's fine. But to cut her off, it's not like she was a guest on the show and he cut her off. They just went into her live feed and she was talking, you know what I mean? And then he cuts off the live feed and starts going on his own little rant. And stuff like that's got to stop.
Yeah. Well, and also, who just determines what's true or not? Because I got to tell you, they can take a lot of truthful statements, truthful facts, and depending on how they've presented it or how they've clipped it out to a 2-second clip instead of a 20-second clip, or they've shown it out of context, something that could be very truthful out of context is very misleading. So to me, that's just as bad as an untruth.
Yeah.
You're promoting it as this, and it's not. Like, to me, that's where you have to have some integrity, some ethics. I know it's a crazy word, but ethics in general needs to be brought back. There needs to be some level of accountability. Like, if you're going to have truly be able to exercise the right to a free press, which is a constitutional right, absolutely worth it. However, if you're going to have that kind of right, with rights comes responsibilities. They need to be responsible for the exercise of that right. And to me, that's not even just good citizen. That's good. To me, that's an ethics and integrity issue. Now, I don't know. You can't obviously go pulling creds that you disagree with what they're saying, because that's not always the case either. But you're right. There needs to be some level of some body monitoring the amount of crap coming out of these media centers, and actually, I don't know, hold them accountable, even if it's within their own group. Someone with their own organization as a policing body, it can police, the press itself. But I don't know. To me, you can see how bad it's gotten.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you have a few $1 billion? Maybe we can start our own network and.
Oh, will there be another friggin' Fox or OAA or OAN? I mean, like, it just becomes one other tier of bullshit spewing propaganda.
So true. But hey, if you're gonna tune into some bullshit, tune into my bullshit. Please.
Absolutely. The best bullshit comes from Felix.
And that being said, that's a good way to end the show. Thank you very much, Chris. Love
Always a
having you
pleasure.
on here,
And happy birthday.
and I'm sure we're gonna be. I'll have you on again soon. And thank you for the birthday wishes.
Right on.
Hey, you're
Oh,
still. You know what? I crucified you last time for not delivering Arizona. So since Arizona's still on the board, you're off the hook for now.
fair enough. See you later, world.
Thanks. Well, folks, that's going to be it for me today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week. We'll see what else is going on. Hopefully, we have better answers for you. What's going on with the election? Um, let's hope Trump has some success in the courts here. I actually feel better than Chris does about his situation. I do feel that he will be able to prove the voter fraud um, that occurred, and we'll see. Because God help us if we have a really have to say President elect Joe Biden. But that being said, we did pick up some seats in the House, which is great. Tillis was just acknowledged as the winner in North Carolina. So right now we're up 50-48 in the Senate. We still have two runoff elections that will occur in January down in Georgia. I'm pretty confident we're going to win both because if we don't and they get a tie in the Senate, I mean, just imagine you're going to have God forbid we have Vice President Harris coming in to be the deciding vote in the Senate. That's not going to be good. So Georgia, get your shit together and and deliver us those two senators. All right. That being said, thanks a lot. Happy birthday to me, and I'll talk to you next week. God bless everybody.